A Romance of the SawDust, by George Augustus Baker Jr. Suthin to put in a story. I couldn't think of a thing, and it's nigh unto 30 year now since fust I went in the ring. The life excitin'? Thunder. Variety, did you say? You must have cur'us notions 'bout circuses, anyway. The things that look so risky ain't nothin' to us but biz. Accidents, falls and sich like? Sometimes, in course, there is. But it's only a slip, or a stumble. Some feller laid out flat. It don't take more'n a second. There ain't no story in that. And like as not, the tumble don't do no harm at all. There's one gal in here I tell her, she got an awful fall. You know her Ma'amselle Ida, she's Jimmy Barnet's wife. The prettiest little woman you ever see in your life. They was lovers when they was young uns, no more'n 2. Hands high. She nussed Jim through a fever once, when the doctors swore he'd die. I taught 'em both the motions. She never nowed no fear, and they've done the trapeze together for more'n a couple o' year. Last summer we took on a Spaniard, a miserable kind of cuss, spry feller but awful tempered, always a makin' a fuss. He wanted to marry Ida, his chance was pretty slim. He did his best, but bless 'er, she'd never go back on Jim. He acted up so foolish, that Jim, one day, got riled and guv him a reg'lar wallin'. That druv the Spaniard wild. He talked like he was crazy, and raved around, and swore he'd kill 'em both. But Jim just laughed, he'd heard such talk before. One day, when we was showin' in a little country town, Jim mashed his hand with a hatchet, drivin' a tent stake down. He couldn't work that night, nohow. But the trap had got to be done. The Spaniard said he'd try it, and they had to take him or none. I knew Jim didn't like it, and I'd looked scared and white. Look out for me, boys, she whispered. I'm goin' to fall tonight. Then she looked up with a shiver, at the trapeze swingin' there. A couple of bars and a rope or 240 feet up in the air. But up she clumb, he arter stood up. But how I'd shook. Then the Spaniard yelled like a devil, now look, Jim Barnet. Look! With that he jumped, and gripped her. She fought, but he broke her hold, grabbed at the rope, and missed it off of the bar. They rolled, clinched, and Ida screamin'. Thud. They struck the ground. I turned all sick and dizzy, and everything went round. How still it were for a second. It seemed like an hour, and then the women was all a-screechin', and the ring was full of men. Poor Jim was stoopin' to lift her, but flopped right down, and says he, her lips is movin'. She's breathin', she isn't dead, for sure. He'd fallen under. It kinder broke her fall. Except the scare and a broken arm, she wasn't hurt at all. The Spaniard? Oh, it killed him. It broke his cussed neck. But nobody cried their eyes out, as near as I recollect. She married Jim soon arter. They're doin' the trapeze still. So, see, as I was sayin', these falls don't always kill. And as for things excitin' to put in a story, well, I'd really like to oblige but then there ain't nothin' to tell.